Why do we buy what we buy? Is it the taste of the olive oil, the sparkle of water, or the comfort of the sneaker? Or is it something deeper? Take, for example, a bottle of Graza olive oil. It's not just an oil, but it's a statement piece for your kitchen. Liquid Death? It's water that makes you feel like you're breaking the rules. These brands aren't selling products. They're selling feelings, confidence, rebellion, belonging. Today, we're diving into the psychology behind the products we love. Why do certain brands make us feel something? And why is that feeling worth more than the product itself? Spoiler alert, it's not about what's in the bottle. It's about what's in your mind. But before we jump in, let me paint you a picture. Think back about how we used to buy things. Say, 20 years ago. You needed olive oil, you'd go to the store, pick up whatever brands your mom used, and that was about it. But now we're joining wait lists for olive oil drops like they're limited edition sneakers. What changed? Let's start off with a brief history, because this shift didn't happen just overnight. In the early 1900s, marketing was pretty straightforward. Companies would basically just say, well, here's our product, here's what it does, and here's why it's better than the competition. Take the Sears catalog. It was revolutionary at its time. But looking at it now, it's almost charmingly simple. Just some products, descriptions, and prices. No lifestyle shots, no emotional storytelling, no brand identity, just cold, hard facts. But then something interesting happened in the 1920s. Advertisers started to realize something profound. People don't want to just buy products, they buy better versions of themselves. Edward Bernier's Sigmund Freud's nephew was actually one of the first people to tap into this. He realized that you can sell products by connecting them to people's unconscious desires and emotions. Let me paint you a perfect example. In the 1920s, Bernier's was hired by the American Tobacco Company to get more women to smoke. Now, at this time, it was taboo for women to smoke in public. So what did he do? He organized a group of women to light up cigarettes in an Easter Sunday parade in New York. But here's the genius part. He marketed these cigarettes as torches of freedom. Suddenly, smoking wasn't just about tobacco. It was about women's liberation. He turned cigarettes into a symbol of empowerment. Now, obviously, today we know smoking is harmful, but the marketing technique, that was revolutionary. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing brands take this emotional marketing to a whole new level. Now let's talk about our two-star examples, Graza and Liquid Death. First up, Graza. You know what's fascinating about this brand? They took what was one of the oldest food products in human history and completely reimagined how we interact with it. The product itself? It's good olive oil, but that's not really what they're selling. Let's break down their marketing piece by piece. First, there's the bottle design. That squeeze bottle isn't just convenient, it's making a statement. It's saying, hey, we're not your grandmother's olive oil. We're not precious. We're here to be used, not saved for a special occasion. And then there's that color, that bold, bright green. It's not trying to look expensive or traditional. It's modern, fun, almost rebellious. When you leave it out on your counter, it's not just a cooking ingredient. It's basically a kitchen decor. But here's what really gets interesting. Their social media isn't filled with some serious cooking tutorials or traditional Italian recipes. Instead, it's casual, approachable content. It's people drizzling olive oil on pizza, making simple pasta dishes, or just dipping bread in olive oil. They're selling a feeling of being an effortlessly cool home cook. Someone who knows good food but isn't pretentious about it. And let me tell you, it works. The first batch sold out in hours, and they've built this almost cult-like following. Now, let's also take Liquid Death. Let that name sink in for a minute. Water, called death. In a tallboy can that looks like it should be holding beer. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that's exactly why it works. That's the genius of Liquid Death. It isn't just that they made water edgy, it's that they understood something fundamental about their target market. They realized that there was this huge group of people who felt alienated by traditional water brands. You know, all those pristine mountain springs and wellness messaging. Now, instead, they went completely counterculture. Their tagline, murder your thirst. Their marketing campaigns, they include things like supplying their water to death metal concerts and creating horror movie trailers about killer water. And here's what's fascinating. They've turned hydration into a form of rebellion. Think about that for a second. They've made drinking water punk rock. I mean, that's marketing genius on a whole nother level. Let's dive into the psychology behind why those approaches work so well. Studies in consumer psychology have shown that we make purchasing decisions in our emotional brain first, and then we use our rational brain to justify the purchase afterwards. Dr. Antonio Damasio, a renowned neuroscientist, actually studied people who had damaged that part of the brain responsible for emotions. Know what he found? These people couldn't make decisions about what to buy, even though they realize all the pros and cons. Without emotional input, they're paralyzed by choice. And this is exactly what these modern brands understand. They're not trying to win the rational argument, they're trying to win the emotional one. Now, let's talk about how social media has completely transformed this emotional marketing landscape. Because this is where these brands really shine. Take Graza's Instagram account. They rarely post about the technical aspects of their olive oil. Instead, they post these gorgeously casual videos of people cooking really simple meals. It's all about creating what marketers call aspirational but achievable content. When you watch someone drizzle that green bottle over a perfectly imperfect bowl of pasta, you think, hey, I could do that. And that's exactly what they want. Now, Liquid Death takes a completely different approach on social media, but it's equally brilliant. They lean into meme culture. They create content that people want to share, not because it's advertising, but because it's entertaining. They released a heavy metal album made from hate comments. They created a horror movie trailer about killer water. This isn't just marketing, it's entertainment. And that's a crucial distinction. Because when people share these videos or posts, they're not sharing an ad. They're sharing something that made them laugh. Something that aligns with their sense of humor and identity. Both of these brands have managed to create something even more valuable than viral content. What they've created is communities. When you buy Graza olive oil, you're not just getting a kitchen staple. You're joining a community of people who care about cooking but don't take it too seriously. Now, when you drink Liquid Death, you're part of this in-joke, this movement of simultaneously making fun and revolutionizing beverage marketing. And this community aspect, it's absolute gold for brands. Because when people feel like they're part of something, they become brand advocates. They're not just consumers anymore, they're ambassadors. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you posted about a regular bottle of olive oil on social media? But Graza bottles show up on Instagram stories constantly. When was the last time you took a picture of yourself drinking water? But people actually proudly post their Liquid Death cans. So where's this all headed? What's the future of emotional marketing look like? First off, we're seeing the rise of what I call micro-emotional targeting. Thanks to AI and advanced data analytics, brands are getting better at understanding not just what we buy, but how we feel when we buy it. Think about how Netflix recommends shows based on your watching habits. Now, imagine that level of personalization, but for emotional marketing. Now, brands will be able to identify exactly what storytelling resonates with you personally. But here's where it gets really interesting and a little bit concerning, honestly. As these technologies advance, brands will be able to create what feels like personal, emotional connections at scale. Now, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room: the ethical implications of all of this. Because when brands get good at manipulating our emotions, where do we draw the line? About 64% of consumers say they're more likely to buy from brands that align with their values. But here's the catch. How do we know if that argument is genuine or just really good marketing? Take sustainability claims, for example. We've seen a huge rise of what we call greenwashing. Brands making environmental claims that don't hold up to scrutiny. But they do it because they know we have an emotional connection to environmental issues. And this is where things get really tricky. Because the better brands get at emotional marketing, the harder it becomes for consumers to really be able to distinguish between authentic brand values and clever marketing tactics. So what can we do as consumers about all of this? I think it's really important to be aware of these techniques. Understanding how brands target our emotions doesn't make their marketing less effective, but it does help us make more conscious decisions on what we're buying. We need to get better at asking questions. When a brand makes us feel something, we should ask, is this feeling backed by real value? Are we buying into a marketing story? Or are we buying a genuinely good product? We need to recognize that it's okay to enjoy and participate in this emotional marketing, as long as we're doing it consciously. There's nothing wrong with buying into a brand story if that story adds real value to your life. Now, let's flip the script for a moment and take a look at this from a business perspective. The key, I believe, lies in what I call authentic emotional marketing. This means creating emotional connections that are actually backed up by real value, genuine beliefs, and actual community building. Look at how Patagonia does this. They don't just market themselves as an environmentally conscious brand, they actually put their money where their mouth is. They do initiatives like their Worn Wear program and their environmental activism. Let's talk about some practical takeaways from everything we've discussed today. Emotional connection is the new currency in marketing. But, and this is crucial, it has to feel authentic. You can't fake it. Liquid Death works because they fully commit to their irreverent personality. They never break character. Second takeaway, community building is more powerful than traditional advertising. When Graza shares user-generated content of people cooking with one of their olive oils, they're not just showing off their product. They're highlighting their community. They're saying, look at all these cool people who use our product. You could be one of them. Third takeaway, innovation doesn't always mean inventing something new. Sometimes it means reimagining something old. Neither Graza nor Liquid Death invented new products. They just found new ways to make us feel about existing ones. Now, let me share some predictions about where I think this is all headed. We're gonna see more brands focusing on what I call micro communities. Instead of trying to appeal to everyone, they'll create deep connections with smaller, more dedicated groups of consumers. The line between entertainment and marketing will continue to blur. Brands will become content creators, storytellers, and maybe even entertainment companies in their own right. We'll see what I call a rise in authentic tech, tools and platforms that help consumers verify brand claims and track corporate behavior. Because as emotional marketing gets more sophisticated, consumers will demand more transparency. Next time you feel drawn to a brand, pause and ask yourself what emotion they're selling. Is it confidence, rebellion, belonging? Understanding this could help you make more conscious purchasing decisions. We're living in an era where products are no longer just products. They're vehicles to identity, community, and personal expression. The success of brands like Graza and Liquid Death isn't just changing how we buy olive oil or water. It's changing our entire relationship with consumption. We're moving from a world of passive consumers to active participants in brand stories. This shift has implications far beyond marketing. It's affecting how we form communities, how we express ourselves, and even how we think about authenticity in a digital age. The most successful modern brands aren't just selling products. They're selling feelings, identities, and belonging. Whether it's Graza making cooking feel approachable and fun, or Liquid Death making hydration feel rebellious. It's all about the emotional connection. This shift isn't just changing how we buy things. It's changing how we relate to brands, to each other, and even ourselves. We're moving from this transactional economy to a relationship economy. The future of consumer goods marketing isn't about manipulation. It's about authentic connection. The brands that will thrive are the ones that can create genuine emotional bonds while delivering real value. Before we wrap up, I just want to challenge you to think about your relationship with brands. What emotions are you buying into? What stories are you participating in? And most importantly, are these emotional connections adding real value to your life? If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe. And hey, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. What brands do you feel emotionally connected to? And what marketing strategies have you noticed also working? This has been Where We're Headed, and I'll catch you next week.